If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The camera's here and the microphones, and they wanna know.
Welcome to the Project Exodus Court podcast. My name is Paul. This is Andrew and Joel. Episode 31.
Hey.
Cheese.
Hey.
So we're all really excited to have you all here. This is for those watching live on Facebook. Welcome to the podcast. And for those watching on YouTube, thank you for checking out a video. Please click the subscribe button and help us grow this channel. Facebook is at what, 1914, something like that. Like, so please follow us on Facebook. We're trying to get to 2K on followers and keep spreading awareness about recovery and how we can help each other stay sober. So episode 31, I've learned anything. If we've learned anything, it's none of us come in prepared for these episodes. We just kind of
life's busy, dude.
Rant and rave, man. That's what we do. How was your week, Andrew, since the last time we talked?
Hot. And so I work outside, for those who don't know me. And it's hot. It's not even technically summer. And it's, I don't know, I compare it to just imagine you work at the beach, but you're wearing clothes all day, like long sleeves, and you're just direct sun.
Even worse because you're up on a roof, though, aren't you?
Yeah. So solar, you think of a solar job, just imagine that there's no shade ever. So you're just cooking.
Yeah.
So it's been, I'm just exhausted between that and being a single, basically full-time dad.
Yeah.
And then,
anything positive?
That's positive, man. 3 years strong. I've been at the same job. I've been taking care of my son.
Monday was Andrew's 3 years sobriety day. That's kind of what I was hoping he'd lean into. I didn't know he was going to take us to the depths.
I just forget, dude. I just keep going,
Congratulations on 3
likewise.
years. That's a big deal, man.
We're 10 days apart.
10 years apart?
We're 10 days apart. So
yeah,
yours was the 9th. Mine's the 19th.
Yeah,
every year.
For sure.
I think I forgot about that.
I lost all train of thought. Yeah. So,
it's been a good week.
But it has been hot. It has been really hot. I don't watch the weather or the news or anything, but I just have a feeling like there's probably been record highs or something going on out there. It feels like it's that hot down here right now. So,
and Eden's graduating first grade next week.
Next week?
Nice. Next week he finishes first grade.
Cum laude?
I don't know how that works if they're in grade school, but he's scoring 90 some percentile in his testing and stuff. So he's doing good.
That percentile of kids in the first grade is you can read exceptionally well, or books that you shouldn't be reading.
He's in the 93rd percentile in reading.
Do you roll up in there and take credit for that?
Oh yeah, straight up.
That's
he didn't do any of it. It was all me.
Right.
No, but he's just, I think it's just, I don't know. I don't remember my parents reading to me. My mom said that she did. I don't remember. I definitely don't remember my dad doing it, with me. And so I don't know. I just love that kid so much. So ever since he was little, his mom would read him stories and I would read him stories. And then whenever we kind of started splitting up, when we split up and we were just kind of sharing him, I just continued to read to him because he loved it, and he still loves reading. So.
Yeah.
And math, I can teach them, that 2/8 is a quarter, and then 2/4 is a half, and then 4 quarters is an ounce.
Sorry,
see what I'm going here?
Getting blown up.
Drug dealer math.
Yeah.
That's my math sucks.
Yeah. So yeah,
16 ounces in a pound.
Yeah. He's really good
learning
at
all the strategic metrics and
measures. He's good at the metric system.
Yeah.
So that's
we're gonna work on Pythagorean's theorem. I think next week.
Next week, all right.
Yeah, so.
And what about you, Joel? How was your week? If anybody notices, Joel is dressed like Bruce Wayne, off the clock,
or Dracula.
Yeah, or one of
a modern Dracula.
Yeah, I don't even know what other color there is to wear, man. It's always black.
Well, there are other colors. I mean, it's
plethora.
But if you prefer to dress like a 6'4" goth.
John Wilk. John Wick.
So what do you go? So I'm going to let you disclose what's going on this evening while you're dressed that way.
I'm going
tell the
to a
audience.
Saturday night speaker meeting. You can catch me there at 7:30. 12th and Beneva. I guess it's telling the story. I don't know how they put it. It's not. I don't think they use the word testimony, do they? I don't know.
No, it's just you speaking, just
Speaking.
sharing your experience, strength, and hope. You
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what it was like,
What it was like.
what it's like,
happened,
what
what
it's like now.
Yeah.
As you can tell, Joel doesn't go to very many meetings. No, I'm just
I don't know
kidding.
how they.
It used to be like
I don't know.
everybody else, you know. My party days. This day.
It is the meeting I would go and watch that meeting, but if I was going to be chosen to speak there, that'd be the ultimate meeting to run away from. I mean, that's like,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
with someone struggling with social anxiety like that.
Every time
You
I
know.
think about that meeting, I'm just like, man, how am I gonna get out of it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks a lot,
They
guys.
actually asked me. Sally asked me. I was probably a year into the program, and she asked me, and I was like, no. And she was like, you don't say that. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you guys don't even suffer from the same thing. Like, that's a whole different world. And I'll probably bring this up in the meeting. Like, people have no idea what it's like to battle social anxiety on the level I do, and then have to, in order to save your own freaking life, you have to then
Do
confront
the
that
thing.
just to confront that.
Yeah,
It's like,
you have
come
to
on, man.
you have to do the thing that
All
you
the
are
way.
terrified of
Yeah, yeah.
in order to. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, like,
And it mans you up.
can I say genuinely honest?
Go for it.
Genuinely
Yeah, hit that.
Like, meeting Joel at the time that I met Joel, right? I would have never known that Joel had this problem, like standing in front of people and being a leader vocally, right? Like, he's always been this, strong-willed, ambitious guy that just I could go to and he would talk to me about anything. Like, that's essentially who Joel has been to me. So it's hard for me to see a version of him not like that. However, getting to know that that's an issue of his, to watch him go from having that problem to standing on stage, talking to people, motivating people, doing presentations at other, like,
It's a big gap from
yeah.
like speaking to like 20 addicts at the Sally than 150
And
people.
that was overwhelming. I mean, I remember our house meetings, 8 people, and I'd be like, oh, so much much. I'm just like, oh, how do I get out of this? Pouring sweat. What do I say?
Wait, what's what?
It's just crazy.
yeah, and
Porn?
to lean on what
Pouring
you
sweat, man. I was just
Pouring
pouring.
sweat,
sweating,
pouring
Sweating
pouring sweat,
sweating,
Pouring
Yeah,
sweat, man.
sweat, yeah.
sweating. it up, man.
Perspiring.
Good.
So
However
you had
wanna say
mentioned
it.
like Sally asking you to share, and you told her no, and she's like, you can't say no, right? Like, there's
She didn't say it like that, but it was like,
She surprised, like what? Huh?
yeah, they were
No?
like, huh? And
So-
then my sponsor talked to me. He was like,
you're not
yeah, you
allowed
just
to-
go. I'm like, do you even know who I am, man?
Yeah,
I am.
of course
freaking,
he
like,
said that.
You know what I mean? Like, do you know who I am? Like, I really look at, like, if I look at all the people I used to go to school with, and I look at our behaviors, because that's what someone with like socially anxious studies everyone else's behavior and just kind of lives in their own head and whatever. So if no matter what school I'm going to and a group of friends and wherever we hang out, like, I know I'm one of the shyest people at every party in any school that I've just ever had. I mean, luckily,
Is it different if somebody engages with you, or does it more of just a fear of
well, that's the only way it's going to happen.
right?
You know what I mean? So, like, for me to just go engage, that's why I tried to start doing, like, part of my, I guess you can call it program, but it's just more confronting fears. Like, I won't leave my gym or somewhere without trying to small talk some type of stranger somewhere.
Would you consider that to be like one of your character defects?
Yeah, it's irrational fear. It's perfectionism. That's what it is.
But I mean, the fear of like.
I mean, I call
of
it social anxiety, but
But
it's
explain that. Explain to the people listening and to me, because I'm a dummy. When you say perfectionism,
so, like, I don't want to show up unless I'm perfect, and so I'd never get to show up.
So then that leads to like.
And so I never get to communicate. And so I never get to do much of anything unless
what
I'm
does the
forced
backside of that look like? So let's
to.
say
And it's biological, because it was from my first memory I ever had. I was 4 years old, and my brother, my brother and my mom lived in an apartment complex, and my brother hit a ball up onto some neighbor's porch. And my mom asked my brother and I to go ask the lady for our ball back. And I remember that was like the first memory of my life. Freaked out that I had to walk up and talk to this stranger. You know what I mean? And then like the next memory was just having to approach some stranger. I have no negative memory to associate it not being like a biological default mode of my life.
Was your brother or your mother like that?
I think my brother's a little bit like that, but nothing to my degree. My mom is nothing like that. So it's like going anywhere in public with her was just a nightmare because she's talking loud and she's like,
So it's what it's like being with me.
She, like even we're in the neighborhood we grew up, she'd walk out the front door and be like, "Joe, dinner time." I'm like, "Oh my god," like why?
So I got two questions. So on the back side of that, like obvious side effects or like negative side effects of that issue is you miss out on a lot. Like you don't get to experience the things you need to experience. But paint me a picture. Like you've had an opportunity you've had an opportunity to participate in something or be part of something that you chose not to out of the perfectionism part. And you're sitting on your couch at home later. Are these things that you think about like, man, I need to fix this because of there's some negative effect later?
Like what can you
like regret? Do you have like an overwhelming sense of regret like when you then shy away from something?
Like the conversation I didn't have, the experience I didn't have, that like let's think of how many connections with people that probably could be my best friends for life that I never even get to meet, and they live in my community. Women I would have probably married and had kids with, I never even talked to because of that little bit of fear that keeps me just secluded.
But even then, it's like coulda, shoulda, woulda. Here's where we are. How do we grow from that? Is that where you are currently with it?
Yeah, it's like, and I still won't walk into the speaker meeting and be like, "Hey, can you guys sign me up to speak?" Anytime you guys are missing someone, throw me in there.
Yeah.
But if I put people in my life that throw me up on stage, that make me be the MC, that do, you know what I mean? Like I got like my Estonian friend Renar, he was just loud and just, even when we hung out back in the day when we weren't sober, he would just, he'd always want tables, bottle service, and always be up in the.
So that was my other.
So I hung out with people that forced me. I knew it was good.
I love this person, Joel.
What?
I love this.
Because I can't move. Like I'll just left to my own,
But let me ask you. So when it comes to your addiction and the alcoholism side of it, was that one of the main ways you would treat it? So you could be part
alcohol. Boom, I'm there. Yeah, I'm the first time I ever lived the present. Yeah. First time I ever lived in the present moment. I mean, it's there. It chemically alters my perception of life, and
so that was your excuse for drinking initially. Was like, I have to do this to be comfortable.
Before I even tried putting it in my body, just the fact that I'm getting ready to put a toxin in my body to hang out with friends was already suggesting to me that I wasn't enough as I was, or you know what I mean?
Liquid courage.
So once it got in my body, I was like, oh yeah, freaking tool. Yeah. And we're going to use this forever.
So we had Nicole on. She did a presentation at Next Generation Recovery. You can see it on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. It was on fear, and I don't remember all of the questions where she asked us to raise our hand if we had a fear of success, a fear of, and this would fall under one of those categories, I would assume, a fear of.
Yeah.
Which one is it, Nicole? I know you're in there.
I just raised my hand for all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the, I mean, I think she put it on there, one of her slides. Like, that is like, on the other side, the life I want to live that would put me in that feeling, as if I was drunk, like just an absolute freedom is on the other side of that fear. So if I just sit and hang out and I go through my day, and every time I feel like a little bit of discomfort or fear or something, just write it down. What was it and where's it at? And if I want the roadmap to a beautiful life, I just start targeting those things that made me feel uncomfortable during the day.
I think it was the fear of not being enough. Like that was the one that she illustrated. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like not being enough, like you mentioned, not being perfect at it, And so now on this side of it, obviously you're fixing to go stand in front of a very large crowd, no pressure. I mean, probably 200-300 people plus, I think Jelly Roll's going to be in the audience. But like, what
be good
gives,
to have in that.
what gives you solace and peace in those moments? Like, what do you try to, like, for me, just an example, when I would go to the Salvation Army early in my recovery, I would just remind myself that the people in the audience have less recovery time than me, and they're looking to me as a sense of hope. Like, what do you do in those moments to get you through?
Yeah, to be honest, I got nothing.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Because I'm looking out there, and it's been my whole life. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, I always put everybody on a pedestal above me when I meet them the first time, when I run into them casually. I just put people up here. That's been my default mode, and then it's up to them to work themselves down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just like Andrew's the complete opposite. Everyone's pieces of garbage until proven otherwise. He's like the opposite.
I just feel indifferent to people. And I think, like, before recovery, our entire lives are spent running away from fears, never facing anything. And then recovery gives us the tools to, face the things that we've been afraid of and to, like, grow and become who we're meant to be.
So for those watching, this meeting that he's talking about speaking at it's a big meeting for us.
Everyone's below me.
What?
No, just what he said. So with Andrew, everyone's just below.
I always
him.
think of Andrew as the opposite of me when it comes to social, like the way he sees people and interactions. So
I just don't care. I just don't care what people think.
There
you know
it is.
what I mean?
And I'm bringing him up in my.
Yeah, no, and like just to tip our hat to Andrew a little bit, like I've learned a lot from him. I learned the most from him in like the early moments of us meeting in jail was how open he was. Like, like a lot of people have like this sense of shame in the sense that they won't admit to being a drug addict
because they care.
Yeah, because they care. He didn't. He was very comfortable in the fact that this
my
is
shame
who
went
I
out.
am. Yeah,
Don't care.
And I was ashamed when I was out there, but once I got clean, it was just like, you got to get it out, man.
Yeah, dude, I learned so much from that. Like that was the thing that attracted me to recovery through Andrew was like, I wish I could have that sense of freedom where I'm not necessarily living in shame. Hey, what's up, Travis? I'm more living in the sense of using it as a way to help other people because that's what it was. Like with you being open like that, it helped me to know it was okay.
Maybe there's going to be somebody in the meeting, probably a lot of them, especially if they're newer, who are afraid. They're afraid around people. They're uncomfortable.
Yeah,
they're new.
Shout out tonight.
You know what I mean? But like that's what you sharing your story. Somebody out there's going to relate to it, and you're going to be able to help them. Like, look at this.
Probably a lot more in the recovery rooms are probably people that kind of always think of us kind of the outcasts that chose some horrible coping mechanisms. So
I think it's really cool that this particular meeting was one of the first ones. I think it was the first meeting I ever went to, and to then go full circle a few years later. I went up and shared my testimony. Yeah. Joel's going up this week, and then next week Andrew's going up. And the only real big, the only thing that's not surprising.
I'm not going to prepare either. I'm just
the only thing that's not surprising about it is I was up there prepared. You have spent time really investing into what you're going to say tonight, and Andrew is not going to practice.
Yeah, I want to be like that. Like I look up to Andrew in the ways that
you don't
like. Maybe the end result, like but it's torture to like what did I do all week? Just sat around thinking of having to 20 minutes of my life just get through it and move on. You know what I mean? We opened another house. We did all kinds of stuff, and then the whole thing is just a fog of like.
Let's not breeze over that. We didn't go back to that topic, but
listen, you don't have to give this. Get a standing ovation from everybody. Who cares what they think? Who cares what they think, dude? Like, it's your life. It's your story. And like, probably no one in there knows who Joel is and what his life was like. So it's like what I like about speaker meetings is you can kind of get a little window into the life of because like I don't know who Sally is or who I don't really know who these people are, what they've been through. So like when I get to hear them tell their story, it's like then you get to kind of learn more about these people that you see all the time, like all the time.
So my paranoia and nerves come into the afterthought, like you said, you don't care what people think, which is great, fine. But
I say that now, but once I get up there,
I want to cast out every sense of doubt in my mind that when it's over, someone's going to go, man, he was horrible. Like he didn't even tell us about what it's like to be sober. Like Andrew's going to be up there for 45 minutes, not even looking at the clock. Sally's going to be like, get down. You haven't even talked about what it's like now. But that's where
I'm going to have GPT give me like a 3-minute story, and then I'm just going to be out, and whoever's next is screwed. They're going to talk for like
That's
40
more
minutes.
prepared than you have ever been.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah,
Nicole said, "Love you guys. You got this tonight, Joel." Shout out to Nicole. Nicole's awesome, real big asset to us over here at Project Exodus.
Asset to any woman in recovery.
What?
And she's an asset to any woman in recovery. Like she's a perfect example of what recovery can do for you.
So I went back and watched the meeting Wednesday night, and I say that like she's a huge asset to the women, but she's really a huge asset to anyone.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh man, she's so great. Like, she's one of those type of people that I just feel comfortable talking to about stuff, and I don't feel comfortable opening up to just anybody. Like I can ask her something and just trust her opinion. And so, shout out to you, Nicole. We love you to death.
Thank God for recovery, man, for the 12 steps. And all the people that we get to meet, and then had that program, had this not been in place, who knows where we'd be today.
So, you had brought up just a few minutes ago that we opened a new house this week. And for me, when this all came up, so this happened Tuesday, and it was kind of last minute. What day did we get a call last week? It was because it was originally supposed to schedule for Monday. We had to push it off to Tuesday.
Yeah, it was just going to be a coffee date.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday we met at the house, and everything was finalized within 30. I mean, I'm looking over at Andrew this whole time, and Andrew's just watching me. Hopefully he's a guy.
Yeah, because he's just okay. And I'm just like, man, I don't know what to say. It's like,
but like,
because I just hear him like, property taxes go up in 2 years, and then you want a 2 year, 3 year lease, 3 years lock. I'm like, but it's already like way more than what you would get, even if you completely remodel the inside. You're not going to get that much for it.
Oh man, this is great.
I hope he's not watching, but yeah, he needs to tighten up, dude.
It's that's just the name of the game for the business right now.
That's where we're at now.
He looks at it like negatively. I'm like, there's nothing going to stop me. So I think
what he's looking at it from is from the standpoint of
he looks at it just like
we're jumping in without really kicking the tires, if that makes sense. Like, but you kind of have to. Like you've said this since the word go. Like we're going to swim the sharks for a little while.
Yeah,
and
I don't mean them in they're businessmen. They got their own interests, and they're doing well in life. And I appreciate the opportunity. So I don't look at it as negative. This is a requirement to get in. And like he said, blood, sweat, and tears is what takes you from.
Listen, tip my hat to you. Like this is the thing. It's like not a lot of people get this opportunity, right? And for us, I think we're doing a great job. The one thing that's happened to me this week is a lot of reflection. I mean, it's not even 8 months. This is 7.5 months that we've been pushing along, and we've opened our 8th house, and it's,
5 to 8.
Just based on the people that I'm picking up next week, we're going to be filling it up in no time.
That's the one thing that it's like we need more men's beds,
Yeah.
because the 5 are full, and so this gives us more men need help. What?
Yeah, I'm losing count.
Yeah, so we could use the beds to try to help more people. So in that regard, it's like we need it, and we're going to do our best to make it feel like home for these guys.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to Brent, who's over there all week on his PTO time, just doing the deal. Cleaning.
He's a worker too.
Yeah, we
so
got
I appreciate
lucky with that guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brent.
He said
Nolan,
that too.
And Nolan, both those guys are workers, and I appreciate everything they're doing right now.
There's nothing they won't do to help the community, the recovery community, and it's really cool to know that. I mentioned this to Joel earlier today. I think I even mentioned it to you. Is one of the things that affect me a lot is the approval of other people, like that look across the table and say these guys are doing God's work. They're helping people. Like that's what, and they're not doing it at the cost of any other thing, right? And sometimes, like recently, like we've kind of had some feedback, like our meeting on Wednesday night, it's not an approved meeting. And I went to the Sally Friday night. Some girl raised her hand and said, she wanted to come to our program, but she was court ordered, and whoever was over her case was like, oh, you don't want to go to that program. And I'm sitting here just at first I'm like, oh, well, I want to fix this, but I'm starting to realize it's like two things. It's like, we've always had like a pretty formal disclaimer before our meeting that, hey, we're not a 12-step program. This is not a substitute for the 12-step program. Get a home group, get a sponsor. We're different.
We're talking about the meeting or the homes?
Both. It's the overall stigma around what we're doing.
Right.
And
I knew it'd be like this. So.
yeah,
I mean, it says it in the intake packet, 90 meetings in 90 days. Work a pro like that. You are the first one to be like, you need to get a sponsor, get a home group, get a service commitment, work a program of recovery, because when everything else in your life falling apart, if you're working those things, like, we can work with you, we can help you.
What I'm trying to say, though, is I'm talking more about me overcoming this character defect of caring too much about what other people's opinions are.
Yeah.
Because when I sit down and I think about drug court, for instance, and the type of clients we get from there, right? And I don't care. Like, it's not something like I'm not talking about 100% of those people that are in drug court, but the vast majority of them just don't want to be there. Like, I want the people in our house to want to be there.
Yeah,
so,
and we're taking, which drug court I don't think understands this until you're in the recovery community, which they are not really involved in that. We're taking a subsect of because we're taking so many people out of Restore that are coming into drug court, we're taking a subsect of the drug court clientele that's just going to have a lower percentage of survival rate in the halfway houses, as opposed to coming out the Salvation Army or some other program, and they don't understand that. So not only are they beefing with us about whatever 12-step means or whatever, we're also taking the probably lowest survival members of their court system and taking them into our homes, and I did it.
Them.
Yeah, and that's why I get back away from how many meetings and all this, whatever. We're in the business of people developing. You know what I mean? We're going to drag, push, pull, challenge every person that comes in the door, whether they stay with us or not. They are going to be a better version of themselves by the time they leave. Yeah. And even if disqualifying them makes them a better individual, then that's what we do. You know what I mean? So I don't even consider that a loss. Like, if there's some programs may give up on someone, whatever. I don't even look at the qualifying event as
we are without a doubt one of the most forgiving programs, right? Like, there's a lot of a lot of our clients, like, that bend the rules, if you will, or even relapse or whatever. Like, we're still hand in hand with them, trying to get them back on the right path, whether it's hey, you need to go to detox for X amount of days, and if you'll come out with a release and a clean drug screen, we'll have a bed for you. Like, we're forgiving in that nature. Or even if it's not that severe, it's like, we'll move you to a different house and really try to develop you maybe under a more seasoned house leader or things of that nature. And so my point is, it's like, a lot of times I realize I just need to stop and take a look at the truth of what's actually going on. Like, our program is amazing. It is really good. It's addicts helping addicts, alcoholics helping alcoholics. We are very passionate and loving with our clients. And, a lot of people outside of this are not going to realize that, right? Like, but we know. And so, and
it's not even just there. I mean, we're developing them way into the future. I mean, we're pushing careers and education, and you know what I mean? Like, it's not just trying to stay sober. I mean, all the drugs and alcohol are gone the day you walk into our homes. From there, it's developing, and like, a life for me isn't fully lived until I've faced all my fears, tried to go as far in career and education and relationships. I mean, like, I'm not gonna just stop at like, I'm a success story. That's why you guys don't see me friggin' throwing out my year medallions and all this. Look at me, like that's not even my goal. Like, that was a long time ago. Like, I'm trying to confront just basic stuff. Be like social, and I mean, like, there's a whole nother program I'm working.
I keep saying, I think, like, the facts are this. It's like having that bit of discomfort, right? Whether it's pressure from someone in the program to push you, is what's going to motivate you to progress quicker or progress at the right time into a different area. We have a guy that just moved out yesterday that's moving into his own place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
who?
I'm not going to say his name on here. It's
okay.
But
and he owes us for that hat.
Yeah, he owes us for that hat. But if he's listening, he would understand that, like, that the pressure that we've applied in a lot of the areas that are not necessarily drug related or alcohol related is like, hey man, you've got to grow up in this area and that area.
Yeah.
And so it's motivated him to save his money, be more financially responsible, and move into his own place. Now it's up to him from there to stay connected and do the things. And if it doesn't work out, we're still here. We try to make sure we don't have people leave on bad terms, and just let them know that we're still here for them. But that one moment or those few things has developed him to move to a place in life that he probably hasn't been in 10, 15 years. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say we're unconventional, but by the standards of most programs, we are unconventional.
Yeah.
And our meeting on Wednesday night sets that tone. We've always had that disclaimer, like, we're not a 12-step meeting. So to be clear, this is a recovery meeting that has very unique topics. And so I want to lean into that. Like, I want to take that out of the vocabulary.
And I don't want people to think that 12-step meetings is the only place to find recovery from addiction and substances or a better life. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying don't go or do go or whatever, but like, you need the full out deal, man.
So this is
like,
where
I think
this is
go
where
after-
our podcasts get good, Andrew.
Like,
this is
Me and
go ahead.
No, I just want to say this because I'm not meaning to cut you off. This is where our podcast episodes get good because we have two different views. Me and Joel have two different views here, but I respect him enough to listen, and he most of the time convinces me. I disagree. I think that 12-step meetings like AA, NA, CA are the building block of everyone's recovery. It should be, because they go there and get the elementary things that they need to know about the real root cause of why they're here, right? It's not the drugs and alcohol, it's the mentality. The thing that I agree with you on is AA, NA, and stuff like that are not the only way to find peace. However, I think it is the most successful because it cuts out a lot of the other stuff like this. It's a spiritual program, but you don't have to be a Christian to go, right? It's a step based, like, goal checklist.
No, I first off, I didn't say it was whether it was the base.
You said it was a horrible. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but like, I think you should go after all of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that should be your base because it turns away so many people. So think of how many people we turn away because it's a spiritual program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right there, right off the bat, we're losing certain part of the population that's not going that because you got to, believe in God or there's some spiritual aspect that turns them all off. So I can't say it's the foundation of something that's only for a specific population.
Yeah. And
so, like,
I think AA did it right, where they even have a book, where they even have a spot where they talk about atheists, people who don't believe in anything, and like, that's okay too. You just have to believe in something that's greater than you, whether it's to me. So like, it gives you, and then eventually, as you work the steps, I think it leads you to a better understanding of what your higher power is, which is what I like about the 12-step program.
Now,
and I agree with you that if we hadn't worked the 12 steps, we wouldn't be here now.
Right.
But where I got to,
and there wasn't another place to go.
Right.
Like, that was so sound and with structure. Yeah. Like, you could, like, people go to detox all the time, right? But they get out, and then if they don't go do something and continue to work on it, this is one of those things that you can continue to work.
Yeah.
Now, I had made this comment earlier, because in this is where I agree with a sliver of what you were saying there about how, there are different things. I don't let it affect me what someone else finds sobriety and peace through, right? Like, some people get offended by the fact that you use the word sober over clean or clean over sober, or some people get offended that you're finding sobriety and talking about Jesus as your form of sobriety. Like, I don't get offended by that. Like, if AA worked for me, right, it worked for me, and that's what worked for me. But for someone else, it may be different. Now, my sponsor doesn't necessarily agree with that line of thinking. Some other people may not agree with that line of thinking, but I know what worked for me. So when someone comes to me and says they want what I have, the only way that I really know to teach them how to obtain it is through going to 12-step meetings. And so I think that a lot of the adverse comments and opinions are based on someone caring too much about what works for someone else, if that makes sense.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think what what I would say you would agree with, Joel, is that and I'll say for me, eventually I got to a point in my recovery where I wasn't growing in the 12-step program anymore. And I kind of just felt like I wanted more, So I think a lot of people, even that continue to do, many, they go to many meetings every week and whatever, and they're very active in AA or NA, their respective program, that they do therapy. They'll go do yoga, they'll meditate, they'll do all of these, they'll find other things outside of their 12-step program to help them to continue to grow. And so we started a meeting, that
you had a really good point last week, and I didn't think about it at the moment. When I watched the podcast back, you said something that we should have talked about more. We were talking about 90 and 90, right? And we were talking about the importance of it and why it's important. But you laid out your schedule and you said, I went to this meeting Monday through Friday, but on Sunday, I spent time with my son, right? Like, we get lost in the thought of the recovery homes. Like, a lot of people come to the recovery homes and whatever their relationship is with their family or kids outside of this, I don't want to say it's taking a back seat, but obviously the more important thing is to get themselves in order. So 90 and 90 is the thing. But there is a large majority of the population that are getting out of rehab detoxes and not going into that environment. Rather, they're going back to their home, to their families. Yeah. And so where a 90 and 90, right, it doesn't mean you're a failure because you couldn't accomplish it. And that one day a week you had to spend time with your family. It just means that that's what worked for you, right? That's what worked for Andrew. That's what worked for somebody else. It doesn't make them an overwhelming failure because they didn't do it 90 and 90. I think when it comes to a program standpoint, people in our program, we want them to do that because that's the best chance of their success, is to complete that for their, checklist of things they can accomplish and the benefits that come with it. But so many times I think our conversations get lost in what the standard is for recovery homes and forget about the vast majority of people that are not living in that environment.
I think early on, when your mind's still foggy, you probably should be at a lot of meetings, like you shouldn't have a whole lot of idle time, in my opinion. But the longer I stayed sober, the older my son got, the more my life started to be more of a normal life. I didn't want to spend so much time in the rooms at night because I had other obligations. I wanted to spend time with my son or whatever, like there were other things that I wanted to do. And I got sober and because I wanted to be able to do those things. But I kind of got to a point years ago in my recovery where I was just, all my time was just doing for others and picking people up, and I'm in a meeting 7 nights a week, and I was like, I don't want to, there's other things I want to do, and that's what I got sober for. So I just kind of picked the ones I liked and made sure I made it to those. And if I didn't, no big deal. But the biggest thing that led to relapse was that I kind of just stopped going altogether, and I stopped calling people. And when I was feeling like I was going to go use, I had already severed that connection with my higher power, with my friends, with my sponsor. And so I didn't feel like there was fear that didn't allow me to make the call and reach out when I was thinking when I was on my way to go do something crazy. And so the biggest thing was, even though I've limited my meeting attendance, I'm still fully connected and involved with recovery on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I look at it as no matter what program you're working, 12-step, whatever, smart recovery, whatever they are, if it doesn't challenge me, it's not changing me.
Right.
Period. So if I'm not being challenged in the 12-step program, I'm not changing. And if I'm not changing, then I'm going to continue to do the same thing as I've always done.
Yeah, and you had mentioned being a perfectionist and things like that. I remember, still to this day, I felt like there was this hump. So with the 90 and 90, I wanted to perfect that, not for anyone else, but I wanted to do it for me, but to say I had done it, right? And then after that was completed, it was okay, what next, right? I'm in the steps, so let's complete the steps. Let's make it to, this month, this milestone. But I remember getting to the year, and there was another year before my next chip, right? And that was when service kicked in. And now service became this new challenge that pushed me and kept me holding the standard of accountability to other people, right? And I know for a fact, like today, that's what keeps me sober. You know, the service aspect of my recovery, of going and speaking to people or picking someone up and taking them to a meeting or just sitting and talking to someone that's just struggling to get past that detox stage. Like, I don't know what life would look like without that anymore. Like, I couldn't imagine. And I think about this sometimes. It's like, is there a moment to retire from that? Because I don't think there is. I think that's something I'm going to have to do for the rest of my life to be happy and have peace.
I think that's one of the key ingredients to successful recovery is being involved with newcomers and doing most of the service you do is usually just probably to somebody new or early in recovery. It helps you to not forget, because I have a good forgetter. And if I'm not around, if I'm not able to see the consequences of what addiction does, like regularly, I'll forget what it's like. And that's what it was like before. I forgot how bad it was. And the moment I forget how awful and terrible and how much people struggle in early recovery to get a job, to like build some confidence, to rack up 30 days clean, like I'll be out there at the Purple Store, gone with the wind.
This really isn't our lane. And I say that begrudgingly because I kind of wish it was more my lane. Like, and I have a lot of respect for like the faith-based spiritual recovery stuff. Like, I love Recovery Church. I think Celebrate Recovery is amazing. I have nothing negative to say about that. But I do understand like that's not what Project Exodus does. I like to think of Project Exodus as the place you go and we will help you find those meetings, right? Like if I was to meet a guy that was trying to get to know God or really needed to get to know a pastor and wanted that to be part of his recovery, then we would be able to say, hey, here you go, man. These are some really great places to go and stay in touch. Tuesday night Recovery Church, Tuesday night Celebrate Recovery over at Bayside, like things like that where we can help bridge that gap. For my personal recovery, right? As I was going through the steps, I had like a huge resentment against God. As much as I'm a Christian, like I had this need to understand, right? Like I didn't want to be involved in something that I was confused by. And it took me, almost 3 years to get to a point where I could be comfortable sitting in like a church service and feel at home, right? Like, and not overwhelmed with this idea that this is wrong or this is out of place. And so for me in Project Exodus, I tend to gravitate to those same type of people that are looking for that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. What kind of program do you work today to get yourself to not care about what other people think? And is that something that you've pulled from your childhood as well? And that it's, you're kind of like, was it a part of your, sorry, I didn't mean.
No, Joel's got,
no, I mean,
that was a good question. I appreciate that. So I can't say that I've mastered that. Like, I still care about offending other people, right? Like, I'm so cautious. Like, I don't mind going and calling someone out, like when they're just wrong about something, if the thought is that it's going to help them, right? Talked to a guy that's in our houses today that's really struggled with some of his depression, and we just had a really hard line conversation about going and getting a job at McDonald's if necessary. And what did he do? Lo and behold, he went and got that job, and he's okay with it. And so I don't necessarily care about the opinions of other people unless I was willing to ask them for advice. And as cliche as that sounds, like I think I just don't want to offend them. But what I've realized and what brings me peace is that no matter what I do, no matter what lane I choose to get in, no matter what topic I care to share on, people are watching us and somebody will be offended. Somebody will have a different opinion than me. And
I don't think that's our response. If somebody's offended, like that's on them. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Like I care less about offending people than I do hurting people. Like if I say something that might offend somebody, that's just my opinion and my feelings on something. But I'll probably almost never say something that's going to be hurtful or to make somebody feel less
And
than.
shouldn't we have disagreements? I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
when it comes to the steps, right? Like we immediately apologize or made right for something we did wrong. I'm not necessarily talking about that. What I'm
who are we apologizing to?
right. Who are we apologizing to? We're not. We don't owe an apology to anyone. But what I'm trying to be clear about is that my psychological nature is to make everybody happy, to
Okay.
people please, and that's the character defect that I have to get over. And so I understand that for me to try and make everybody happy is impossible, right? I can't. And Ben Shapiro says this. I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Shapiro, but he says facts don't care about your feelings, right? So whatever the facts are, I have to go with and trust in. Now, that saying does not work in one area that I've found, and that's in a romantic relationship. Like the facts, the feelings will trump the facts every time. But if I'll use our old house manager that we had to move the other day, and for sake of respecting him, like we had a really good conversation in the driveway last night. He was not happy about how things went down, but at the end of the day, the facts was he had broke some rules, right? And we didn't look at it like we want to get rid of this guy. We looked at it, and Joel said it best, like we had failed him, right? And we moved him into a better house and a really good opportunity for him to grow and learn under a house manager, him, Mr. Miyagi, the new, this guy, the Karate Kid.
Daniel LaRusso.
And so the facts were,
It's never goodbye. It's like no matter what, we're going to keep grinding this relationship better.
but the old me would have caved because I would have felt that I hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
But the truth is, his feelings needed to be hurt a little bit. He needed to be brought back down to earth, and he needed to stop playing the victim role and understand that what he did was incorrect. Doesn't mean he was a horrible human. You made some bad decisions, and you're in a position of leadership, so you've got to be a little more accountable in those areas. And I think that was the big hump for me, was having the courage to say those things to his face and really not care about how he felt, because the facts didn't care about his personal.
He needs to feel those things,
Yeah,
because
he needs
he made some mistakes, and he needs to learn
and
to not make those mistakes in the future.
and
That's how
this
we
is
grow.
and what we deal with is life and death.
Yeah.
There is no gray area. If you don't work these steps, do this program, take this stuff seriously, like the vast majority of people that don't die. And so for me, I have to care more about that person's life than how they feel about me as a person enacting these, rules or consequences or things like that. Because at the end of the day, the bigger picture is this is what's good for them from a health perspective. Oh,
He's feeling himself
spitting
all the
gold,
time.
son.
All the time.
Oh, we still got 15 minutes. So, this segment of the Project Exodus podcast is brought to you by the Project Exodus Corp projectexoduscorp.com. Check out all our merch. You can also check out our YouTube page, where we have numerous videos that you can like, subscribe. You can also donate to help people in early recovery. We're going to do some rapid questions. Last week, we kind of ganged up on old Joel over there about the type of women he likes. And we got a lot of...
I don't remember that being the question, was it?
What kind of women do you like?
Oh, man.
And be honest, because I'll call it out if you start lying.
I'm trying to
I
be
think
honest
that's
right
great.
here.
He doesn't have to answer the question, but
Yeah.
he's just like,
I have to
anything.
own who I'm attracted to. Oh, man. I like fit. I like some fit women.
How fit?
Not masculine fit, but like pretty fit. I like some gym girls for sure.
Gym girls, okay. Now, is there?
Is that good enough for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping. you would
What about
get
age?
more
What about-
detailed.
You were
What-
gonna try to say some
Yeah.
some Latino comment or something.
I'm so worried about what people are going to think about what I have to say.
Yeah. So how are we going to address that? I'm addressing my social anxiety. How are we going to address that? Because I feel like at some point that does impact our relationships with the community. And,
What are you talking about? The caring about what other people think?
Yeah.
I think the two
Do
things
you
I
think
have.
you can do it alone?
No.
Okay.
No, I think I have to have some support system
Okay.
to someone that says,
Yeah.
Paul, you're not wrong for saying that. We had
How did this just get deflected from fit
he's
girls?
good.
Because
No.
it's like that was just something physical. Like
No,
what?
because I'm still because he made a comment. He didn't make a
So-
comment on our podcast where we should be free because he's worried about
So
not offending somebody. And
I had a guy
So that's
that
how we got-
we all respect. He's a really good guy in our recovery community, loves riding motorcycles, good guy. He explained to me, he's like, you have to remember that you have a huge reach. Like it's a ministry in a
Yeah.
sense. Like a lot of people look to us. And I know that there are going to be things that I say that I am going to regret. Right? Like they're without a doubt.
or
Like I'm
die,
not
homie.
perfect. I'm a human.
But this should be our freedom. Like you can judge us however, but like that's for me the beauty of this podcast. We don't have to be all on the same page as we just walk like that. Like let's challenge each other. Let's confront ideas and thoughts and like let's get
I think that's what
let's
makes us-
grow.
I
But
think that's
it's
what
also
makes us-
important that we are equally yoked. That we have a very like when you always ask like what are our rules on this? Like we have
Yeah.
to be on the same page.
I mean, I have an internal rule. I'm pushing you guys. I'm
Yeah.
challenging you guys to tell me your insights on things,
No,
and let's
and-
discuss it. There's
And
beauty
I
in that.
think that's absolutely right from the perspective of we do have a large impact on the community that we're involved in because a lot of people do watch our podcast
Right.
and look at our content for a guide to how to get through recovery. So like when we're talking about dating in the first year and then we have these 2 or 3 different views
Yeah.
like well what works like what are we really saying
And
I
the
think
and the reason the confidence I had to even really talk when we talk about that is because I didn't date in the first year, and that's why I get to be the loudmouth on it and challenge you guys because you guys did. You guys did it under secret.
a lot.
Oh, look at him trying to.
No,
go
I
out.
didn't. I slept with a person in my first year, but I didn't date until
One
after.
person in your first year.
Oh man, you woke.
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest.
No, so I mean, it's good that you're pressing on this. Like, I think that for me,
That was just me
Well, I mean,
acting
like,
out, though.
let's-
It wasn't even like I was just acting out, you know,
Yeah.
Like, if
because
you
I
were
was
learning today.
because I was uncomfortable and I wanted to feel something different rather than
Well, it's really crazy. Like me and him talked about this today. It's like how much you've evolved in the sense of like yours. No, you're
When did you-
disciplined. Like, man, it's crazy to see how disciplined you are about future relationships, how you're handling yourself from a standpoint of putting Andrew first, right?
He's got his own place coming up.
the
in
right
June.
parts of Andrew
Wow,
first.
that's
Like,
it's gonna be nice.
I mean, he's going to get his fixed. I mean, this is something I don't know we talked about much, but like
Yeah.
Andrew's moving into his own place for the
Yeah.
first time in his life.
I
and-
can't wait
and-
to see this recovery.
I already missed my mom.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. But just to touch on this, I think we should all three challenge one of our fears in order to work a program and kind of touch base on it.
What's Andrew's fear?
I think we're kind of touching on it,
All right,
like
you guys might not.
using.
He's not afraid of much of anything.
I
I'm
don't know,
thinking-
man.
but-
if
but
I'm
you
afraid of
said-
anything, it's like it's stuff that I've already done in the past is like hurting the people that love me, doing something terrible to the, you know what I mean? Like that's the only thing I fear, but I would never do that anymore. Like I'm a completely different person from what I used to
I've
be.
got a thing that I think you're afraid of, and you can tell me if that's true or not, and you tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Yeah.
Andrew, ever since we started Project Texas, he's always had this like, why are y'all asking me to be? I have nothing to offer, right? Like this, and I look at Andrew like, what do you mean you have nothing to offer? You know, like you're an expert in everything recovery because you've
Right.
done it. You can help everybody that's ever done
I've made
any
all the
type of jail
mistakes.
time.
Yeah.
Like you're a great dad. You've went through this DCF thing and came out like a champ. Like
Checked every
like,
box.
Majority
you can possibly
custody
check.
in Florida as a father.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so like for us, it's like we see it when Andrew doesn't, and Andrew doesn't really have a lot of confidence in it. And
Yeah.
I feel that's changed.
No, it's still there. It's
Good.
still there.
Good. We got something
Because
to work on.
but like I have a hard time trying to pick. I feel like I might have to pick, you know, like between time with my son or time with myself or doing stuff for others or doing stuff for others in the sense that it's going to be good for me in the future. So like I you know, it's just finding, and I'm tired, man, you know, and I'm doing it tired, but I'm still tired.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's like learning how to manage time and be balanced. And a lot of like insecurities about am I doing enough in this area of my life?
That's something I struggle with.
Like especially with the kids. Like I brag about you a lot because you get up early, you work all day, you go to the gym in the afternoon, you run to all the houses, you go to bed late, and you just do it over and over.
Yeah.
And so I know that I try my best not to.
But
go.
I can't take credit for that. Like that's this default anxiety I got going on. You know what I mean? Like I can't
That's all
take
you, bro.
Oh, share that, please.
Yeah, I mean like that. But you know what I mean? Like I can't take credit for all that craziness.
What's
like-
really uplifting about it is like even when we come to you with our shortcomings, like the things that we like our excuses or that we're tired, like he doesn't really give us a hard time about it. He'll say, "Oh man, like and kind of shrug it off," but like
Because I don't think he looks at anything as that they can't be solved.
yeah,
You know?
maybe I don't give myself enough credit. I don't know. Maybe we don't. Like we do a lot, but it's like it pales in comparison to like the crap Joel does. Now, granted, Joel doesn't have kids, but he does have 91 people in a
Children.
recovery home that you can consider some kids.
and just communicating with like all of them. Like I think a lot of people reach out to me thinking there's just one person hit me up that day or whatever, and so I feel bad. You know what I mean? It'd be like even if I want to go text my mom, I have to swipe.
Yeah.
You know,
Where you at, Mom?
I miss so many text
and I'm
messages.
like, oh my god, like that was one day.
Yeah, like the Discord server has made things a lot easier. Like a lot of times when like Shelby will message me about something, I'm like, put it in the group chat. Like put it in the group chat. Because that's what's really good about how we organize the program is like there's a group chat with all three of us in it, the female leaders, the male leaders that can in a lot of times I have to stop myself from solving said issue to let the process take place and other people step in. Like,
dude, it's been great. Plus, it can keep documented information for a while. Like people can,
yeah. Like we have typically when we get someone new from Kissimmee, or like if someone comes in our program that maybe Andrew reached out to originally and he's had a dialogue with them for a while, and so they finally come into the program. Well, they've got a friend in Andrew, or they've got a friend in me, and you have to break them of that habit of only reaching out to one of us, because there is like a massive group of men or women, their house lead, there's a chain of command that goes down, that there's a person that's there to serve that, and it's reminding them like, hey, doesn't mean I don't like you, but you need to go contact the right person. I can't do nothing for you at this point. I got you here. We got you in the house, but
Brent said something to me earlier at the house, and he was like, "Man, he's like, y'all do so much for these people, man." And he's like, and then he said something like they need to like start figuring stuff out. They need to get some meeting lists and some phone numbers, and like they need to be getting their own ride. Like everyone's, and I agree. I mean, I agree to some extent. Like I think we do a lot, but also that people need to challenge themselves to get out of their shell and to get connected with other people, because then they'll find relationships like what we have.
Yeah, we've really kind of expanded the footprint of people in recovery to certain areas of town where they didn't exist before. Like we've got 3 houses right here in this one area, but the meetings that most of our other houses attend are on the other side of town.
So I had Frontier hook up Wi-Fi at the new house,
right?
And he goes, "So I think I heard about you guys the other day." I'm like, "Oh yeah, where?" And he was like, "Well, I'm in AA." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, well I'm getting ready to head to a meeting here in a little bit." Like I never recognized the guy, but just when I was putting the name in for the Wi-Fi, he was like, "Oh man, I think I've heard about you guys."
Yeah,
so I don't even know if that was Sarasota or Bradenton or something.
Shout out to APX Barbershop over on Main Street. Josh Slater, he's my barber. Him and his wife, or him and a group of friends, went to Oakenstone up in University the other day, and he goes in the bathroom, and there's our stickers on the mirror. Like
really?
Next Generation
Recovery.
Yeah, and he's like taking pictures of them. He was like, "Dude, this is so cool."
Where was that?
Oakenstone up on University.
Oh yeah,
and
that's our hood.
Yeah,
so, of
right
course we tagged them.
The one thing I wanted to say before
it was right next to bar beer stickers all over, and then boom.
Yeah, there was like a highlight sticker right above it. But so like one of the, and before we'll jump off here in just a minute, we're about at that time. But like one of the things that I really hope that we can get more involved in, and if you're watching this, maybe you can help us in our community, is having somewhere close to each group of houses that has consistent meetings, so it's not so far to go, right? Like, because the biggest problem we run into is people need rides to get to meetings. And with the Wells House, right, like most, when they're communicating to people in the houses for transportation or to get to a meeting, they're on the other side of town.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got to go to Wells right after we leave here.
And so we've got 3 houses right here, and there's that like Sarasota Community Church where there's, I think because it's anonymous, it's hard to really find out what's there on what days, what's NA, what's AA, what's codependency, you know, and I want to get a developed list that we can put on the fridge of each house of like the closest resources, food pantries, you know, things of that nature. So if you're watching this and you have any good data and information to spread to our homes, we would be greatly appreciative of that. So at 6:28, Joel's got to get out of here. He's got to go get ready for this massive, like, you know, arena of people that are going to be staring at him. Yeah. No, but if you get a chance, go check out the speaker meeting tonight over on 12th and Beneva.
I don't even know if we can advertise this.
I don't know. You've already advertised it twice, so who cares? Whatever.
If you're an alcoholic or
there we go.
But we
you
want to say
think you're
thank you
struggling with
all to
alcoholism.
everyone watching this. And, you know, if you're new and early to recovery and you've made a decision to change your life, I just want you to know that we're all extremely proud of you. It's a very difficult decision to make, and we're happy to see you getting your life together. Check out our Next Generation Recovery meetings on Wednesday nights at 1801 North Lockwood Ridge Road. This week we have John sharing his testimonies. Come check it out. We also have our YouTube page, Facebook page. Leave us a follow. Help us get to 2,000 followers. And for that, my name's Paul. This guy in the blue shirt over here is Andrew.
If you
And this
are
good-looking
what
guy
you
in
say
black is
you
Joel.
are,
Love you guys. Have a good night.
superstar, then how